What is up, YouTube? It is time for Power Tour 2023. This is going to be my 5th Power Tour I've done so far. And I've taken the Grand Prix that you saw me work on in the last video. So I just got done with that engine swap. And we're going to try and see if this car can make it the whole way through Power Tour. It's done 4 tours so far, so it shouldn't have any problems this year. So we'll see how it does. And we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Okay guys, it's trial by fire. We are on the road now, heading down to Atlanta. Got about a 5-hour drive ahead of us. The car is doing good so far. Everything looks good on the vitals here. Oil pressure looks good. The car is running great, smooth. It is burning some oil. Not sure how much yet or how serious that's going to be during this trip. Hopefully it's just stuff left somewhere in the tubing, but we'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. But so far, car's running well. The suspension feels nice and tight, aside from my loose steering, which is just an issue that's always had. Otherwise, though, I am looking forward to this trip. So this year for Power Tour, I am rolling with a friend of mine who has a sweet 1995 Oldsmobile 98. This car never came with a supercharged engine, but he put one in anyway. And he's been running this thing with the factory PCM for the 95, which is kind of an oddball year because you still have to burn it like an old Prom. You can't really do that with a laptop these days. So you can't really tune it on the fly. You kind of got to know a guy who has the tools for that. But otherwise, it's working out pretty good for him on this trip. He was having some lifter noises though, so we stopped at AutoZone here to try and make sure things were okay. Had to get some parts for his car, oil filter out of that thing to try and keep things happy. But otherwise though, he seemed pretty happy with it, so we decided to get on the road here. All right, we're gonna be back on the road here. Things are still seeming okay in this thing, so, and he's committed to going, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't have any issues. Hopefully this car makes it. Get this show on the road. All right, so first hotel, car made it fine. Oil pressure gauge stopped working and I've developed a ticking noise, but I am a little bit low in fluid, so we'll see if putting some more fluid in there and some glucose will help out tomorrow. It's a problem for tomorrow, not tonight, so gonna head in and get ready for the next day. Well, it's this morning we're gonna take a look at this thing and see why it's leaking oil. It's about a quart low at least, and it's developed some sort of lifter ticking, it sounds like. It could just be it's low in oil, but I know the leak is coming from somewhere in here. You can see some of it right there. So it's either coming from the drain or somewhere else in the turbo itself. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get a new flange gasket there for that drain, or maybe it's the hose too. I'm going to take a look at that, but just going to kind of examine this to see if I can see where it's coming from. Luckily for us, Power Tour this year is really close to Summit Racing, so we were able to get a lot of the parts that you can't really find at a lot of other places, like the turbo drain gasket. We did go to a regular store for some of the other stuff, but Summit was pretty awesome. It was my first time here. It was really cool seeing all the Power Tour people here. We got there as early as possible, like right when they opened, so there's a line forming out front. But once we got in here, it was really cool to see all the different parts they had available. It was awesome because, like, if you need anything at all, they had it in stock, stuff that you wouldn't find at a local parts store. Current status: Travis locked his keys into his car. locksmith came to save the day, and we are going to be on our way shortly. In the meantime, just hanging out here at Summit. Not the worst place to be locked out of your car. Okay, well, I got the oil drain tube off, and I think I found the issue. I didn't put a gasket on it, apparently. So, here's where it goes. You can see that's the oil drain right there on the turbo, and I don't see a gasket there. No gasket on this thing, so thankfully Summit had these. They're like the only place that would have these, so good place to need it. And we'll go ahead and put that on there. I'll have to drill this thing out because it's going to be too small for this drain hose, because these are like a 7/8 inch drain hose. Diesel turbos need lots of oil, so we'll probably try and drill out this gasket maybe, or see how close it is. So here's the new gasket, and a little bit smaller than it. So I might see if I can get that stepped out just a little bit. All right, we'll get to it. All right, swapped over that gasket, put a new oil pressure sensor in because the old one was pegged last night, so hopefully that solves that. Hopefully it's not another electrical issue. Put some Lucas in too because I was low in oil and was making some noises last night. I'm gonna go ahead and I think we're pretty much ready to go here though. Man, that Lucas is so stringy. Look at that. It's nuts. But yeah, we're good to go now, I think, and hopefully it doesn't give us any more issues the rest of the trip. Should have solved all my oil leaks now. So let's get to Atlanta. Okay, oil pressure's looking good. Not hearing any weird noises yet. Probably solve that oil leak, but we'll see. About to head to the venue now, about 20-minute drive, and try and get there soon. One of the biggest frustrations of Power Tour is just getting into the venues. Often you'll spend at least a half hour just sitting in line waiting to get in somewhere. The first day is usually one of the worst days too as well. Most days I think it's about an hour on average to get into the venues unless they really have things organized really well. Could be worse places in traffic for it, but if you got an old car, it really punishes the thing. But at least you get to enjoy the sights and sounds. Keep your car in good shape. Hopefully it doesn't overheat, and you'll make it in there just fine and enjoy all the sights afterwards. So that's cool.
Periscope. He posted on the Power Tour page.
Oh yeah,
just a couple days ago.
One day I'll take this seriously. This year Atlanta did something interesting where they basically stacked us all up inside of the parking lot, which had the benefit of keeping us out of the street at least to stop less traffic. Kind of a give and take. The nice thing about this was that you're not sitting in traffic doing this forward and backwards thing. You can at least stop and sit around and look at cars and get out of the thing for a while. And then once you get going, it's all, you're going. It's not like you're sitting in traffic that long. So that was enjoyable. I appreciated that. I know a lot of people complained about it, but it is what it is. It's, better than sitting in traffic out the street somewhere. The smoke? Yeah. The Mustang? The red one. Atlanta is probably one of the cooler venues here because you're in the Speedway, and how often do you get to do that? For me, that doesn't happen very often at all. I've been to Atlanta a few times thanks to Power Tour, but aside from that, it's not like you're going to be able to see the inside of the track that often. And when you get here, it's cool to just walk around, see all the projects that are out there, and then you go to the vendor main stage-ish area. You see all these little project cars that are by sponsors and stuff, things that have more money to them than I could probably afford for a project. But it's cool to see like the latest and greatest out there for what people are doing. You really get to see the state of the art and then some stuff that you probably wouldn't do. But it's interesting to see the stuff that's out there that's possible if you want to go ahead and do that stuff.
4L60, 537 rear end.
Now, we didn't spend a lot of time looking at the cars here at Atlanta. My lifter problem, that noise was just not getting better, and I knew it needed something. So with that, we left out of here to go get some work done on this car to see if we can make it happy for the rest of the week. Thankfully, we're close to Summit Racing. They've got the lifters this car needs. And so we're gonna go pick up those lifters, pick up some oil, pick up some fluid pans to catch all the fluids. Then hopefully get that swapped over tonight. Requires a lot of work to pull the intake, but we have some time here. We left a little bit early. So that's gonna be the job for the night. Once again, being so close to Summit Racing really helped us out big time here. The parts that I needed would not be available anywhere else. These are a special lifter for this engine to be able to withstand that kind of spring pressure that Cam puts in them. And this place was just absolutely packed at this point during the day. So thankfully we were still able to get in and out pretty quickly. Current status, I am getting ready to take the intake manifold off because I need to replace a lifter that has collapsed. I believe it's collapsed. We'll see what happens, but intake has got to come off to do that. And to get the intake off, you've got to drain the coolant out. So coolant is coming out right now. And once that's out, you can start pulling off this intake. And hopefully don't have too much coolant go into the oil. Figure out a process for that. But this has turned into one of the more interesting nights of Power Tour in my Power Tour history. This is the most I've ever torn a car apart in one night. So wish me luck. Hopefully this goes well. Pulled the valve covers off, pulled the intake off to get ready to pull out the lifter. And all of these look fine, but I am seeing that my valve stem seals are not on all the way for some reason, which is concerning. So maybe I can pry those back on. I don't think that that's causing the noise then. We'll keep looking. I don't really hear it. I know how to listen to them. Just put your ear. Current status. Everything looks fine. Can't feel anything yet. So once again, going to Summit Racing for the third time today. Just decided to get the full set of lifters. Don't want to deal with it the rest of the week. Do it once, just get it done with, and I'll deal with it afterwards. There's like a whole bunch of people here though. Look at this. This is wild. Alright, back here at the parking lot of the hotel from Summit Racing. We've got 10 lifters sitting inside of here, just kind of soaking up some oil. They're not going to be perfect here, but this is going to help them a little bit to get some oil inside of them. They're still going to clatter and make a bunch of noise once I get them in here. I'm going to pull out the rest of them and swap them out with the new ones. Don't know which one's causing the issue, but I don't want to be here again doing this. So let's just do this once. They say buy once, cry once, right? So let's hope that that's all that's involved here. So go ahead and pull off these rocker arms, pull off the push rods again, swap in the new lifters. Let's get to it. Well, got the car running here. Had a couple issues, found a vacuum leak, 2 of them that solved some weird issues. Apparently a loose fuel injector is a big problem with these things for vacuum leaks. And of course the Holly's like, I see 0 kPa or 100 kPa because it's running on speed density, so it just sends it. It's like, yep, here's your fuel, here's all the air. So it's running good now. Hopefully we won't have any more issues. I'm not hearing any more ticking. So it should be all set to go. We'll find out in the morning. So call night here and I'll catch you then. One of my favorite parts about Power Tour is just the hotels. Even without like burnouts or big parties, it's still cool to see all the classic cars and interesting things people brought with. All right, it is Monday morning or Tuesday morning. This is the day we all drive out of here. Pretty sure it's Tuesday. and I love it. It's like 7 a.m. hotels, and you'll just hear like muscle cars and V8s just firing up in the morning. It's a great experience. Nice. So with that, the next morning we set out for our next stop. The next day of Power Tour is a traveling day. Every morning usually is, except for the very last day, where you kind of leave after that. And the car is working great, got great oil pressure, car is running great, no issues at all. And didn't take very long though for the car to really start to go downhill. It felt great, and about maybe 30 minutes outside town is when decided to give the car the beans and really start to try to impress some of the onlookers who are at the street corners, because you'll see that every Power Tour is people at the street corners just trying to see burnouts and stuff. So obviously you're going to do the burnout. It is the Power Tour, not the cruising tour. So I gave the car the beans about 6,000 RPM. Sent it, got a little sideways, and was rewarded after first gear with a insanely bad misfire and probably some of the worst noises I've ever heard out of this car. This was absolutely a huge bummer. This is the first Power Tour this car had not finished, and I didn't want to leave it behind. I couldn't do an engine swap in this thing with where I'm at with it. It just takes too long with all that plumbing, and that was just absolutely drained. So last resort, this had to happen. Had to get the car home. Okay, I'm back home now. Currently doing a vehicle changeover. So this is happening now. It's only Tuesday. It's the second day of Power Tour. I'm going to hook up back with them today. I'm taking this car right here. It's a 02 Buick Regal GS. It's my daily driver, and it's not that special. It's just got a pulley and E85, but it runs great. This is going to be a no drama thing now, taking this car. It's pretty well sorted out. I've had no issues with it, but maybe the Power Tour thing will strike this car too. We'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be a smooth sailing from this point forward now. No more drama with this thing. I'm pretty sure that this either spun a bearing or threw a rod or something that's got low compression in the cylinder. It just sounds absolutely terrible. So I'm just gonna take this car, and maybe now I'll spend the rest of my week helping other people instead of being the person who needs help. That would be a first for me on Power Tour. So looking forward to hopefully having that happen. So I'm gonna get this thing going here. I gotta put this thing on that U-Haul there and take it back to the place. I figure if I load this on the trailer, I can just get out of there with this thing. I've got no one here to help me, so I'm all on my own here. So I don't have anybody who can pick me up. So that's gonna work out perfect, and then I'll be getting straight back onto the road here and hook back up with them. So let's get it done. So I'm driving this U-Haul truck, and I thought it'd be funny to point out it has this little vacuum gauge masquerading as a fuel economy gauge of some sort. It's kind of funny watching it because it reminds me of my boost gauge, because whenever you get in the throttle, it just soars up. And so I get excited mentally when I see that, but then I get disappointed when I feel that there's nothing happening. It's kind of funny. It's also very disappointing because it's just a vacuum gauge. So that's kind of funny. So with that, I finally got back on the road here. It was about 5 o'clock when I left. So it's already getting dark. I had about a 7-hour drive ahead of me, and I had a lot of time to make up. Really disappointed that I wasn't able to drive the Grand Prix the rest of the tour, but at least at this point, this car would get there quickly, would have no issues whatsoever, at least in theory, and get me right back on track. Wouldn't be the best car to take out there, but it's better than taking my truck, I guess, so there's that. miles to go. Let's go, baby, let's go. Made to the hotel. It is about 2 a.m. here, and I'll be leaving here probably in about 4-5 hours from now. And there's still some people out here working on stuff, but been driving since 6 a.m. and I am ready to call it. So catch you guys in the morning. Here's the ride. I'll clean it tomorrow. Okay, so we're back on the road now. It is the next day. We are on the route officially now. We were not far off of it. Filled up with some 85. This car runs on 85 only. Switching over requires a bit of work, so I'd have to switch tunes, and I don't have my tuner with me. All I have is HP tuners, and if I do that, it's going to cost me $100 to do it because I have to buy credits for this car. So trying to avoid doing that, but that might happen sooner or later eventually. So we'll see how far we get this year with the gas I have, and see if we can avoid doing that. I might do it a little bit just to see if I get some more timing in this thing, just for kicks and giggles. But otherwise, though, this so far is going to be the smoothest power tour after today. From today forward, it's going to be the smoothest power tour I've ever had. So we'll see how this goes. We'll keep at it, get some footage, get some cool cars, maybe get some stop signs. We'll see what happens. We're a bit behind schedule today, so we're gonna have to catch up. So we might not be doing much for sitting around finding stop signs, finding burnouts, but we'll see what we can find. That's part of the fun of Power Tour, and then of course also just the route in general is fun. So we'll keep her at it. Sometimes you get some traffic. Sometimes you gotta take the detours. We are so far behind the schedule, and it is stopped with traffic there, so gotta get going here somehow. Gotta keep this thing moving. So found a detour. We'll hook back up with the main road. It was a little bit sketchier than I thought it'd be, but we'll keep going at it, man. It's kind of cool. Nice little scenic route there. Sometimes you just gotta get lost. And here we are, caught back up with the rest of the group. Nice. Good call. All right, last 85 stop for a little bit here. See how this goes. One of the challenges we had during Power Tour is that both of our cars run on E85 only, and we can switch them over, but it's a real chore to do it. For me, I had to buy credits for this car because my other tuner is what I was using to use this, which doesn't require credits. And he has to do a change in his mass airflow scaler to do it, and it's kind of a risky thing to do. So just running E85 throughout the tour required some planning, checking for locations that have E85, and some locations down south are pretty sparse, but we were able to get a pretty good amount of E85 for this trip. With that settled, it's time to get back on the road, get some miles underneath these cars, and get onto this trip here. Alright, getting here into Rockingham Speedway, and a bit of traffic. This is the norm. This is always like this. See a lot of people up there already. So, place is packed. We're getting here right about, looks like 3:30 or so. So pretty close to the end of the day here for this. I think most people are gonna, ideally you want to get here like 1 to 2-ish. That'd be a good time. And you can experience some of the stuff they have today. We're gonna be punching in, probably eating here with the food we have, and then jumping out of this. He's got a grill, we'll fire that up, and we'll get some food going. This Regal has got me so spoiled though. It is so nice compared to the Grand Prix in terms of like creature comforts. It's quiet, it's got air conditioning, it's still fairly quick. It's not anywhere near as fun as the Grand Prix is, but it is so nice and easy going after such a stressful week. I'm enjoying this. I feel like I'm cheating hardcore in this thing, but next year we'll come back harder with the Grand Prix or something else, or something cool again. Might be the Grand Prix, might be something else. I think I want to try a different project, but the Grand Prix will come back to life someday again. Yeah, Chevy Astro. Wonder what's in there. Yeah, then the Caterpillar. Sweet. Supra. GTR. Fiero.
That gives you plenty of time to get up there from Concord to Bristol. So we've got one more banner to give out.
One of the things I love about Power Tour is that it's kind of like a buffet of all the different things you can do in the car world, at least for a high level of things. So you got autocross, you've got drag racing in some places, and every stop has a dyno. So we wanted to go ahead and hit that real quick. We want to see what his car would do, and I just kind of tagged along for the ride here, and I went in the infield with him. Stock, these engines put out like 240 at the crank and only 200 at the tire if you're lucky. So his put down some pretty respectable numbers, especially for something that you can't even tune. Okay, we are getting packed up here. We're about ready to leave out of here. Spend some time cleaning this thing up. Didn't really get much time to look around here. Things are wrapping up pretty quickly. Got this dyno running, and gonna head back to the hotel soon here, grab some food, and get ready to call tonight. We are dead tired, man. It has been a long day. Okay, change of plans. This thing just showed up here. He's about to dyno this car. I know this is an 8.1 liter big block with a supercharger on it, and he said it was stroked even further too. So I am excited to see what this thing puts down. I saw this guy do a nasty burnout in 2019 in like 4th gear at 2,000 RPM because it's got so much torque. So this is gonna be so cool to see. So we're gonna stick around and see what this does, what kind of power it makes, and go from there. One of the common themes we saw today was that a lot of cars are having trouble sticking in the right gear for a dyno session. Ideally, you want to have this in your 1-to-1 drive ratio gear, but with an automatic, it really, anytime you whack that throttle, it's just going to want to downshift. So this guy had that problem, so we never really got a good torque reading off of it. The horsepower could be correct. Even my buddy there, he had the same issue too. It was just downshifting immediately. So you'll make a bit more power in a higher gear, but unfortunately, we didn't quite get to see that today with this one. But this thing was still a beast to witness in person. That was probably better. That's a lot better, yeah. Alright, and just like that, we're wrapped up for today, heading out of here through this sweet little tunnel. This is like the latest I've ever stayed at a venue for Power Tour. We're like one of the last people here. That is nuts. Oh, check it out. Someone's driving a plane. I've seen this thing at Cleus and Cars events. That's pretty wild. Hell yeah, brother. Alright, it is Thursday morning. We're leaving our hotel. Oh, we left a little bit ago, and we're back on the road now. Got some gas. Found a place that has E85 in town, so not as stressful of a trip as it could have been otherwise. We still have our fuel cells with us, which have like 5 gallons of E85 in them, so we could use those if we need to. But things are going well so far. Obviously, this car has been flawless this whole trip. We are about 2-3 hours away from zMAX, which is where we're going today, out in Concord, and I'm sure it'll take longer with all this traffic. And you can see we have a whole bunch of Power Tour cars in front of us today. We've gone the line of them, and we're about to get on the back roads here, so we're almost done with the freeway. Once once we get out of this town here. It's gonna be basically a 2-lane highway the whole way to Concord, and you see we're all getting off right here. So it should be an interesting day. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping to get some time there at Concord to actually check out some cars. I have not been able to do that any day this week just because of all the issues I've been having with mine, and just timing when we get there too. Today's day we are actually like an hour ahead of everybody on the route, so we left a little bit later. We left around maybe 9:30 or so. Being that we're like an hour ahead of them on the route, like we were able to go ahead and just sleep in a little bit. Called it.
Yes. Yeah, I was a big RX-7 300 super guy back in the
That's cool.
Back in the day.
I've done this since '94.
Yeah. Yes.
It's actually way more efficient around.
It sounded good. Yeah, it sounded good.
It's not bad. Every once in a while, it's oil fuel. It might take too long after like a long.
That is so funny. I love how like every southern town is like this. You drive into like basically what looks like the city hall, but it's like a roundabout around the whole building, and they're all like this. So, and we're just gonna keep driving around this thing, and then we'll take a right here. And gotta give away the Hot Wheels to the kids. Yep, there we go. And just like that, we're finally out of that town and we're back on the trail. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Just rolling with the hood up. You can visibly see, I don't know if the video is catching it, but you can see the heat coming off that car. Wild. This just ain't a boring traffic jam. Alright, we made it to zMAX. Just ate some food, got our things punched. We're gonna go do some walking around. It is hot today. We are so filled up here that they couldn't even find spots for everybody. So this is more packed than it usually is. So hopefully we see some cool stuff today. This is interesting. This Ford here has like a chassis swap of some sort. It's said to be some sort of handling machine. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you know, if we had the mini bike in the back like you, we would have just taken off on that thing. Alright.
So you were in the right spot. Good job. Might have one more Herbert for you. Hey, nice. How might it is? Oh, he's got an itch on his leg. Something's happened on the leg. Scratch that itch. Scratch that itch.
Over at Molly Motorsport, the official piston sponsor of the Hot Rod Power Tour.
Yeah, tomorrow in front of the Hot Rod Power Tour main stage. It's the place you want to be. And if you have the cards, now is the time to turn it in over at the Molly Motorsport tent. Turn that card in right now, or else you're not part of the drawing, right? So you got to do it either today or tomorrow.
They can turn it in tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Before the drawing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the drawing is like 3:15, right?
Yeah, I'm letting you know, anytime after 3. We're just gonna rattle off all those drawings and make it a big brouhaha up here. It's gonna be
You don't have to be present to win. You can be just put your information on that card.
Wow.
Take a guess. I'll get another one. Just take a guess. When was American Powertrain founded? 16. 18.
The steering shaft is great.
Check out this Buick LeSabre. That's a unit, man. Look how old that thing is. That is sweet. I don't think I've ever seen a LeSabre before the 60s. That could be early 60s. I don't know about them, but that is pretty cool. We're heading out of the venue here, heading to the hotels. And hopefully relax a little bit tonight and maybe get some extra sleep tonight. Alright, so at my hotel for the night finally. And let's see here. They're all like this every night at Power Tour. Just classic cars everywhere. That is a sweet truck right there. Wow, dude. Walking around and seeing the cars is one thing, but what's even better is seeing these things in action. If you're lucky, some nights you'll see some pretty wild burnouts at your hotel. Or at least some attempts at it. We stuck around a while longer to try and see what happened because we heard that this place was doing really good for this night. And it turns out that sticking around actually paid off for us pretty well. There we go. So we're here at a hotel. This is the wildest thing I've ever seen on a Power Tour. I've been hearing about this all week. This is the first day I'm about to go see it. There's a band here playing live music in the hotel parking lot. It is like 9:30 and there are people just doing burnouts left and right here. So it's just getting started. We'll see how this night goes. It didn't take long though for the hotel managers to come out and try and spoil the fun. With the final burnout wrapped up for the night, it was time to head in and get ready for the next morning. First stop, fueling up with the 85. The last station we could find that was local. And then we just had a nice, relaxing drive up into the mountains. You know, I've got to say, we had some rough weather predicted for this week, but it is amazingly nice. It's been nice all week. We've had like no rain at all for Power Tour. We saw forecasted rains throughout the week. Today it is 70 degrees right now. We are in the mountains a little bit, so it's a little bit cooler, but it is just perfect. It's sunny. It's not too hot out. It's just so good. Such good driving weather. Things would be perfect if we were not stuck behind this semi truck. Did not see that coming. It is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta stop and take in the sights. Found a little recreation area here. They're like, we're walking here. Sometimes that supercharger whine works better than the horn does. With that stop finish, we are on the home stretch now of Power Tour. We're here now, pulling in, and I don't know why we're going to the Dragway. This seems odd, but here we go. It is 11:48. We are 12 minutes early. We are actually early this time. We're not late, and we're not pulling in at 1 o'clock. I don't know how long this loop is that they're taking us through, so We might see some of the drag strip, actually, it looks like. I've heard so many good things about this drag strip, but I don't think we're actually going to that. So this is a little weird. This looks like this is probably the best arranged stop so far in terms of traffic, because they have all of this loading area for us. Bristol usually isn't that bad for traffic. I was surprised how bad Concord was last time, or yesterday. This is a drag strip here in Bristol. It's called Thunder Valley. I've never been here before, but I've heard so many good things about it because basically the sound echoes throughout this whole valley, so everything just, you know, reverberates constantly through there. So it'd be a cool experience to try out sometime. So it looks really cool, looks interesting. Looks like we're not actually staying here today, but it was cool to drive by it at the very least. And we're going to the Speedway over there instead, which threw me through a loop, but we're going to the right spot, it looks like. So we're not that lost. Not sure I know what they're doing here with this organization. We got 2 lanes going down the line.
They're just gonna put us right back into one right away.
Putting us through quite the maze here. It seems silly to have brought us down to 1 lane now with all this area to use. So you even get in here right when they open, you're gonna be waiting in line for 20 minutes at least. These hills are pretty crazy. There's a lot of stick cars here, and I know in my Grand Prix this would be not much fun to climb this thing. So the video doesn't do it justice. So at least today I'm thankful in this moment for driving this car instead of the Grand Prix, because this would be difficult to say the least. Here we all just find a spot to park. It's got it all stamped up here, getting in our plaques.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Did they do this last year?
I don't think so. These are different every year. I think this is the Bank Shift Cougar. Oh yeah. All right. Alright guys, well that's it for Power Tour 2023. Wrapping it up, taking it home. Alright guys, well, I've made it home now finally. It's been a long week, a long day, and this is kind of a sad sight to see that this thing didn't make it. This was its first Power Tour that did not complete. This first one was 2018. You can see I've got all the stickers up here. It's done quite a few of them, and I guess this year just didn't have enough to finish this one out. So that's a shame. I have a couple motors here. I'm sure I can get this thing going here strong enough, strong again. I think what happened is that a rod bolt broke. Their torque yield, I reused one. and I guess it didn't like the 6,000 RPM burnout that I did there. But when I come back home, this is going to get taken apart. We're going to find out what happened with this thing, what went wrong with it, where it broke, and what all is wrong with it. I'm pretty sure this engine is not going to have much life left in it. This thing is probably going to have to get rebuilt pretty hard, because I'm pretty sure it's killing lifters right now, and I don't know why. So maybe there's something blocking the passage or something. I don't know. Don't really know, honestly. So that's going to do it for this video, though. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully next year we can have a better outcome than this, but that's going to do it for now. We'll catch you later and see you in the next one.